Welcome media relations expert Allison Maloney, founder of Allison May PR. She's also a Newsmax contributor. Also welcoming in Chuck Smith, Republican Virginia Attorney General candidate and former U.S. Attorney Special Assistant. And finally, presidential historian Dino Scaros. He's an immigration attorney and author of this book on your screen, Trumped Up Charges. Great to see our panelists today, as we are also seeing video of this overwhelmed border facilities. We saw there from the congressman, children crammed close to each other. But first, let's start with what's happening once they're transferred to these overflow centers. In California, migrants receiving in-person teaching while the local students are virtual. Allison, I want to go to you first. What are your thoughts on this story specifically, and also the White House's response that we heard from Jen Psaki?
Yeah, if I was a parent in that area, I would be just as upset as some of these parents are. But Jen Psaki, she's good at a couple of things. She's good at dodging the question. She's good at spinning the story, and she's good at circling back. She wasn't prepared to answer this question. I think a lot of teachers, perhaps they're volunteering. She didn't really have the answers to what the press was asking her. And obviously, as a press secretary, you need to be prepared to answer those questions. But if they were volunteering, and I'm a parent there, and they're on spring break. Now, when my kids go back to school next week, are these teachers going to quarantine? Are they getting sick time that I'm paying for as a taxpayer? So I'd be outraged if I was a parent there.
Another thing is you talk about Jen Psaki and how things are delivered, the narrative that is involved. Another person getting involved with the narrative right now is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat from New York, now condemning the use of the term surge when discussing the ongoing border crisis. Listen.
They want to say, what about the surge? Well, first of all, just gut check, stop. Anyone who's using the term surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame. And that's a problem because this is not a surge. These are children, and they are not insurgents, and we are not being invaded.
So no one's calling them insurrectionists. It's a surge. Reason being, the facility we showed you is set to house 250 with the COVID crisis happening. It is housing 4,000 in just that one facility. That is the textbook definition of a surge. Dino Scaros, weigh in for that and how far off AOC is on this mark.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time trying to respond to AOC's grasp of immigration law and policy, but I will say this. It is outrageous that any of these kids are being given an education here in the United States. I have long said that PHIs, persons here illegally, should only get two things. Number one, if God forbid they are hit by a truck, you shouldn't leave them in the middle of the street and say, okay, they're here illegally. No, you give them emergency medical attention. And number two, if their lives are in danger, if somebody's trying to break into their home, the police shouldn't say, oh, well, you're here illegally, we're not going to save your life. That's it. They should not be in school. They should not be allowed to get a root canal or a routine physical or rent an apartment or get a driver's license. I mean, to do so is to suggest that, yeah, you're really here. I mean, wink, wink, we're not letting you in, but we're teaching you English and we're teaching you social skills because you're really here. We're not calling it open borders, but it really is. And that's the problem. So this is not only a surge, it's an invasion. It's outrageous. And as I said before, I don't blame the people themselves. I mean, when we're rolling out the red carpet for them, basically, what are they going to do? Say no? And I also blame the Mexican government and our government's lack of enforcement so they don't all come through Mexico to come here.
Yeah, I was waiting for Congresswoman AOC to mention the phrase kids in cages, because clearly this new video is showing just inhumane conditions that these kids are in. Want to shift gears slightly while we've got you here. Congressman Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida, reportedly being investigated by federal authorities over whether he engaged in a sexual relationship with an underage girl and paid for her to accompany him on his travels. This according to a New York Times article. Gaetz has denied the allegations. He spoke with Tucker Carlson last night. Let's watch.
Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate it. So this is obviously a serious allegation. Tell us what the truth is from your perspective.
It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie. The New York Times is running a story that I have traveled with a 17-year-old woman, and that is verifiably false. People can look at my travel records and see that that is not the case. What is happening is an extortion of me and my family involving a former Department of Justice official.
Is a very new story here. Details are unfolding. Chuck Smith, we've got about 30 seconds left. Just your thoughts on this story.
What's alarming here is that the FBI is spending all of its time investigating politicians and their activities. Listen, the left has set this country ablaze from Portland to Minneapolis, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and not one single person has been prosecuted. It looks more like political prisoners than it does look like anything else. I think the FBI owes some explanations. What they're doing, I think, to Congressman Gates is a farce.
All right, and again, the congressman has denied those allegations. We're out of time here, but we appreciate all of you. Allison Maloney, Chuck Smith, Dino Scaros, thank you so much. A new hour of National Report starts right now.